Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Arvell Reese made his case to be the second overall pick in the NFL draft. Also, the Titans reunite Robert Saleh with his former New York pass rusher, sending a monster run stuffer to the Jets. And Michigan State went back and forth with Purdue in a thriller.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese aims to cement himself as the number 2 overall prospect in the 2026 NFL draft and potentially the number 2 overall pick, showcasing blazing speed and versatility that has had scouts raving. Locked On NFL draft host Damian Parson believes that Reese's performance could push him past fellow Buckeye Caleb Downs in draft conversations.
Arvell Reese, star linebacker / edge, just defender for the Ohio State Buckeyes. During the media interviews yesterday morning, he kicked off at 8 a.m. bright and early, and he was asked by someone in the media, someone in the crowd, hey, where do NFL teams, what have they told you about where they want you to play? And his response was, well, they kind of put it back on him, paraphrasing, of course, that it's kind of up to him. And their question is like, hey, what do you prefer, Arvell? And the follow-up question was, what do you prefer? And his response, outside linebacker and edge. So I know there's been a lot of discussion whether or not he's a linebacker or an edge, but he said he prefers to play outside linebacker / edge. Well, he is going to test today as both a linebacker and an edge. He's going to do both sets of field workouts. So he's going to run. He's supposed to do all the testing, but he is going to be doing everything else as well. So that is something that is very interesting, allowing yourself to test as both a linebacker and like not just a outside linebacker, an actual linebacker, allowing yourself to test as a linebacker, but then also allowing yourself to test as an edge defender. So that is something to keep your eyes on. So he's going out here and he's competing. So I think this is an opportunity for Arvell Reese to stamp himself as the second best player in the draft behind Caleb Downs or whoever's your number 1. He's got a chance to stamp himself, because if he goes out here and blows everyone's minds as a linebacker with the on-field workouts, he tests well as we expect him to, right? And then he does great in the figure 8 and hoop drills and the short shuttle and the 3 cones or whatever the case may be. If he does all the field drills for both positions and he aces the test for 2 different positions, he's going to cement himself as the second overall pick. And that's huge, right? Because the draft doesn't start at 1. The draft starts at 2. The New York Jets, you are on the clock. And that is just as simple as it gets. So I'm excited to see Arvell Reese and see what he's able to do and how he tests and how he performs in both sets of drills for linebacker and for edge. Because at the end of the day, it's been nothing but constant conversation. Where do you value him? Where do you see him? Where should he play? Some people believe, hey, he should play predominantly linebacker early on downs and then walk down to the edge. I'm fine with that. But my thinking for his ceiling, I think he's a much better talent with much better traits to project as an OLB, an outside linebacker, stand-up edge rusher on the line of scrimmage. When you look at his tape, he will play, and he talked about it yesterday. How he played Sam Backer. He walk up in some 5-man fronts. We got 5 down. He's on the edge as number 5. Right? This is one of the most versatile and impactful defenders in this class. And again, if he does what he needs to do, checks off those boxes, all I'm saying is very simple, guys. He will cement himself as more than likely the second best overall player and the number 2 overall pick for the New York Jets. And that is big. Now, so another guy I'm excited to see is his teammate, Sonny Styles, right? Sonny Styles, we've seen a lot of linebackers come in and run. We've seen what one of the Griffin twins with Shaquem Griffin, can't remember which Griffin it was, ran a 4.38. We've seen 4.42 from Devin White, and Devin Bush ran a 4.4, and we've seen a 4.3, I think 9 from Isaiah Simmons, and Owen Pappoe out of Auburn. We've seen guys come in. Now, does that mean that those guys turned into great players? Not necessarily. That list of guys, it's a who's who of what did you do for me, right? So I think for Sonny Styles, yeah, you go blow the chart, blow the mines, right? Blow it out the water, blow the 40-yard dash and the jumps and all that stuff out the water. I saw him up in person, walked past him, was standing close by him yesterday morning after after all the interviews and everything. This guy's legit, 6'4", 240, right? And he looks ready to go. He looks ready to roll, ready to rumble. So I'm looking forward to watching him test and do what he needs to do. Because again, guys, I'm telling you now, man, like this young man has that former safety profile and positional flexibility. Now kick down the linebacker. He can blitz. He believes he can rush off the edge. I've seen some of his pass rush stuff. I'm not there. I don't really like him rushing off the edge. I think that takes away one of his superpowers. Being able to play man-to-man coverage, being able to play zone coverage, face off with those tight ends, guard the seam, 6'4" with his leaping ability, his athleticism. I don't want you rushing. I want you dropping off in coverage and being a guy that makes passing windows much more difficult. Talking about layering the ball over a guy like Sonny Styles, yeah, easier said than done, right? David Bailey. All right, David Bailey said he's going to do, I believe he stated that he's going to do all of the drills except for, I believe, the short shuttle. So yes, he will participate in all testing except for the short shuttle. So, you got to think about the fact of it's going to raise questions like, hey, it's ankle flexion. I mean, if you watch him, he's not the most bendy player, but guys, let's not make no mistake about it. You do not need a 90-degree angle bend. You do not need super uber flexible ankles to get to the quarterback. Right? You don't need that. Like, I'm sorry. Okay? You don't. And we know you don't. Like, we've seen, how many times we've seen rushers, like, absolutely get back there with strength, with quickness. First, that 10-yard split for him might be ridiculous because he's got an elite first step. He did well in the interviews, by the way. Well-spoken, answered questions, all that stuff. He did well,
Stay up to date all year on the NFL Draft by subscribing to Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Jermaine Johnson is a Titan. Before we get to that, Luka Doncic playing hero ball wasn't enough for the Lakers to succeed. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 41 points and a near triple-double from Luka couldn't push the Lakers past the Suns.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of Locked On Lakers podcast. The Lakers lose 113-110 to a very shorthanded Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. No Devin Booker, no Dylan Brooks, no Jordan Goodwin, and thankfully for the Suns, no Lakers defense along the three-point line. Phoenix hit 22 from distance in this game. There was also very little Lakers presence on the defensive backboards. Phoenix grabbed 10 offensive rebounds in this game, which they turned into 14 second chance points. Mark Williams, who only played 13 minutes because of foul trouble, managed to grab 5 offensive rebounds himself. Luka Doncic, 41, 8 and 8. But was picked on defensively a lot, although, to be fair, a lot of company among his teammates along those lines. And despite a fourth quarter scramble attempt to come back, the Lakers spent a lot of this game looking listless at half speed. Their act needs to be gotten together quickly. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Over in the NHL, the Avalanche got embarrassed at home by the Wild.
Well, the Colorado Avalanche fall to the Minnesota Wild tonight, 5-2. Pair of empty net goals for the Wild pretty much sealed this one off, although the Avs, maybe not the best game all around. I thought there were plenty of bright spots through this game. Certainly a lot of mistakes to clean up. When you take 6 penalties, including 3 within about a minute of each other, you're definitely going to have to clean some up. So, plenty of things to do. We can argue about officiating all night. Lots of people will be arguing about officiating all night. It was interesting, but we'll just leave it at that, because ultimately, when you don't convert on the 3 power play opportunities that you have, when you're not able to get anything past Gustafsson, you're probably not going to win the game. Marty Necas, though, 2 goals for him, including one on Jesper Wallstedt as soon as he comes in right at the very end of the game. I think he was in for 6 seconds before Marty scored on him. So great game from Marty. I thought he played pretty solid, and an awesome game from Mackenzie Blackwood, who was excellent in between the pipes tonight for the Avalanche. So there are some good things to build off of. The power play needs to be, it needs to be addressed. But on to the next game. The Avs will come back and play on Saturday and hopefully have a better result than tonight against Minnesota.
And college sports are headed for the White House. Power 4 commissioners are expected to join a star-studded group, including Tiger Woods, Nick Saban, Adam Silver, and Tim Tebow, for a March 6th college sports roundtable chaired by President Trump to discuss the future of college athletics in the name, image, and likeness and transfer portal era. No active head coaches are on the guest list, and even some invitees admit it's unclear how much can be accomplished in one afternoon with more than 30 high-profile voices in the room. After years of stalled NIL legislation on Capitol Hill, the conversation now shifts to Pennsylvania Avenue, because apparently the next step in fixing college sports is at a White House summit. Jermaine Johnson is headed to the Titans after the Jets shipped him off in exchange for T'Vondre Sweat. Locked on Titans host Tyler Rowland, who's at the NFL Combine in Indy, believes that Johnson is a perfect fit for Robert Saleh's defense.
Jermaine Johnson is an absolute physical specimen. He is a freak of nature from a physical stature standpoint. This guy is 6'5", 265 pounds, 34-inch arms. It's a little bit longer than 34. I mean, this dude is a prototypical edge rusher built in a laboratory. He is an absolute specimen, okay? And he combines that prototypical size, that prototypical length as well, with just a relentless attitude out on the field. This guy's motor is always running non-stop. He never gives up on plays. He's always going 110% at all times, and that is exactly the type of player that the Tennessee Titans want in their defense. The Titans want guys who aren't just, the physical model of what you want, but who also have the mentality that you want out on the field. And Jermaine Johnson checks both of those boxes from a physical standpoint, from a mentality standpoint. He is I'm going to say this word a lot, a physical edge setter. Let's call it what it is. Jermaine Johnson is a better run defender right now than he is a pass rusher. Okay, he's a guy who's going to set an edge, set that wall in the run game, force the runner back inside to his help, which is exactly what you want to do. I bring this up all the time because it's one of the best football phrases that I've ever heard, and it came from Mike Vrabel. Edge, wall, swarm. That's how you play run defense. You set the edge, which turns the runner back inside. You create a wall by staying in your gaps and being assignment sound, and then you swarm to the ball carrier as a defense. That's what you do. And for a Tennessee Titans team that wants to have big, physical edge rushers that are able to do that, think about Femi Oladeja, 6'3", 260 pounds. Super long arms. He is a guy who is going to be able to do that. And now you can have Jermaine Johnson on the other side who's going to do that as well. And again, a guy with a great mentality whose motor is always running hot is going to run down ball carriers. He's going to forklift offensive linemen and tight ends to make sure that he handles his assignment. He is an absolute specimen in that regard. Now, as a pass rusher, he is not a bad pass rusher, but, that's not maybe as elevated as maybe his run defense. But in pass rush, he is quite the technician for being a guy that size. Speed to power is his game. He wants to fly off the line of scrimmage. He wants to use his long arms and his strength and power to get in your chest and drive you back into the quarterback. He's got a good, nice long arm stab where he's able to use that length, get into your chest, and he has shown a little bit of a spin counter where he's able to spin back inside. He'll even try a little bit of an outside spin move from time to time as well. Now, outside of that, would I say that he's incredibly polished with, a cross chop or a rip? And does he have great bend and all of that? Not quite. We'll talk about all of that stuff here in just a moment, where we talk about the reality that he is not your alpha dominant edge rusher, the edge one that the Tennessee Titans need. But again, the speed to power, being able to drive an offensive lineman back into a quarterback's lap, having a little bit of a long arm stab to utilize his length in a proper way, having somewhat of a counter when it comes to the spin move. You got to make sure that you have that counter, especially you're flying off the football with good explosion and good get off. You're getting upfield. You're using your speed to power. Offensive linemen are going to start to adjust to that. They're going to start to try to kick out a little bit wider. And the moment that you kick out a little bit wider to deal with my speed, boom, I hit you with the inside spin counter and you don't even know what's coming. Quite frankly, I would say Jermaine Johnson is very similar to a guy like David Bailey. Both 6'4", 6'5", really long arms, speed to power, good get off the line of scrimmage, spin back inside, use your big, thick, strong arms as a barrier to hold the offensive lineman inside during your spin move. I think there's a lot of comparisons there to what David Bailey's going to bring to the table and what Jermaine Johnson is able to bring to the table. And we talk about all this physical stuff. We talk about the frame at 6'5", 260, the 34-inch arms, the relentless personality, the great motor, and some of the aspects of his pass rush that do get you excited. But then you add in the personality. And the personality stuff is as impressive, quite honestly, as the physical stuff. Just in my short time researching Jermaine Johnson, to hear the way that Robert Saleh spoke about him, to hear the way that media people who cover the New York Jets talk about him, this is a guy who has elite football character, takes accountability, is a relentless worker, wants to improve at his craft nonstop at every step of the way. He is an incredible teammate as well in the locker room for the New York Jets. And my guy John Butchko from Locked On Jets is going to come on the show a little bit later at the end and talk about his experience with Jermaine Johnson and how he viewed this trade from both different sides. But not only John Butchko from Locked On Jets, but again, other media members who have covered the Jets. I've talked to one in specific. We've heard interviews with others since the trade has happened, but Jermaine Johnson was beloved in that locker room because when the season was going bad for the Jets, Johnson was the first guy that would say, we're not playing well enough. I'm not playing well enough. That sort of accountability, that sort of maturity, that sort of self-reflection, self-awareness, and intelligence, that is a perfect fit for the Tennessee Titans culture.
Stay up to date all year on the Tennessee Titans by subscribing to Locked On Titans on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, Michigan State went on the road and stunned Purdue. It had been 4,389 days since Michigan State won at Mackey Arena, and last night they broke the streak. Locked On Titans host Matt Sheehan reacted to Sparty's crucial win over Purdue on the road.
We wanted to see a more dialed-in half-court offense. We wanted to see how the big men were going to do against a borderline elite front court that Purdue has. You got 15 points from Carson Cooper, 40 points total inside the paint. We also wanted to see bench production. This was one of my top keys of the game. You got 21 points from Kurtang and Cam Ward combined, 13 from Kurtang, 8 from Cam Ward. And fourth of all, Carter, they have not done that well on the road. Their road wins against Oregon were without Biddle or Shellstad. Their win at Washington was in front of basically a Michigan State home crowd. This is the pressure cooker on the doorstep of March Madness. I wanted to see this team perform well in a very uncomfortable environment. Carter. We 4 for 4. Saw it all. I believe again. Great to see you as always, my man.
It's always great to see you. And there's a lot to talk about with this basketball game. I'm truly excited to talk about it with you. But I have to say this first and foremost, man.
Let's go.
The demons were exercised. We brought the demons to Mackey and we stared them in the eyes, and they got us the last 12 times. And we buckled. I'll be honest with you. We had nothing for it. Nothing for it. My coach had an omelet this morning with Gene Katie.
Yep.
And he said, I got Gene. Can you release me from these demons? And he said, I'll try, Tom. And he went out there and he did it. Like the great person said, who I can't think of right now, if you are not a dog, you are dog food. Now,
preach. Yes.
Now I can take the victory shades off and get this a little bit in line here, because when you look at the box score from this game, Sheehan, like if we did the classic, let me see, if I told you that Purdue shot 50% from three.
Yes.
If I told you Purdue had 23 assists to 9 turnovers and Purdue won the rebounding battle, I would have came on here and be like, okay, let's guess how much Purdue won by. Was it by 27?
Right.
Was it by 27 or was it by 14? But you know, Michigan State just battled in this basketball game, man, and it was everybody. It was Fears, it was Carson Cooper, it was young guys stepping up. Kurt Tang, my brother, have a day. Cam Ward, I haven't seen you in 3 months. Have a day. And these young guys in Mackey Arena, one of the hardest places to play in the country, one of the hardest places to play in the Big Ten that we have not won in 12 years. Grew up in front of our eyes. They wanted the challenge. They accepted the challenge. It was a battle. They got down early. It went back and forth. And you know what? They did enough to win this basketball game. And, man, it feels good.
Who on earth gets MVP honors for this one? I guess the easy answer could be Carson Cooper, 15 points. And that's obviously no easy assignment with any two of TKR, Oscar Cluffer. If you want to introduce the third guy, Jacobson, who stands at a blistering 9'1", it appears. That's an easy Northern Light to point to here for our MVP, but man, everywhere else, boy, do they get it done. Jeremy Fears, 12.6 assists is not going to pop out at you, but again, very tough assignment for him. Cohen Carr, just ho-hum 11 points, but it goes back to what we repeat time and time again on this show. When he has a dunk, the scoreboard says 2 points. It feels like at least 6 points at times. That Wendell dunk felt like a 10-pointer was thrown at the bench.
And finally, Con Knippel's rookie season just added another headline. The number 4 pick out of Duke broke Keegan Murray's NBA rookie record for three-pointers Thursday night, drilling his 207th, and then 208th and 209th in Charlotte's win over Indiana. It took Murray 80 games to set the mark. Knippel needed just 59. He finished with 28 points and 8 threes, shooting over 44% from deep this season, while leading the league in total makes. And in true Knippel fashion, he shrugged it off. I'm just out there looking to make the right play, he told the media. For a Hornets team suddenly flirting with relevance, the right play keeps looking like the same thing. Find the rookie and let it fly. Good Wisconsin boy doing the right thing, letting it fly. Coming up, what else can we learn from the NFL Combine? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.